Joining me right now is Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn. She is a member of both the Senate Judiciary and Armed Services Committee. Senator, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks so much for being here.
Good to see you. Sure.
So
Thank you.
The FBI returned 3 passports of President Trump this past week. Obviously, not a very organized sweep of what they were looking for if they took passports, what they should not have. Your thoughts on what was behind that raid?
Well, Maria, we still do not know exactly what they are up to. We know that it is broad and has been far-reaching, going for documents anywhere between 2017 and 2021. It wasn't a focused raid, if you will. What we do know is that the Tennesseans I'm talking to say if they can do this to President Trump, they can do it to me. We do know that Biden and his crew have a history of doing things that are out of the ordinary. You can look at the Russia collusion hoax and how they still don't want to let that go and say that it was all cooked up by Hillary's campaign. And we do know that DOJ and the FBI chose not to raid Hillary Clinton's home and get the server. They didn't raid the homes of her staff and get their devices. And we also know that they chose to say that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russia propaganda.
Well, that's right. And the FBI is the subject of an article in the Federalist this weekend. Think the FBI deserves the benefit of the doubt? The laundry list of corruption should make you think again. And you just named a number of those issues, the FISA warrant sitting on Hunter Biden's laptop, even the issue around the governor of Michigan and that fake kidnapping plot is also mentioned, the plot to kidnap her. What happened at the FBI, and what can you do about it as an elected official on the Judiciary Committee?
And Maria, we have seen the FBI become politicized, a certain group, a certain cabal in the FBI. We have wonderful men and women who are working in that agency. We have wonderful individuals that have retired out. We have heard from some of the whistleblowers and the continued oversight, the work that Senator Grassley is continuing to do is going to be very important to make certain that the FBI is returned. The leadership of the FBI is returned to being a non-political agency. You know, people really fear this having 2 tiers of justice, 2 separate systems, rules for thee but not for me, that approach. And it is unnerving to Tennesseans, and we hear about this every single day. And how people want justice to be blind, to be equal, to be fair. And they're frustrated with what they see happening from the DOJ and the FBI.
Yeah, I mean, they're frustrated because they think that the bad guys are getting away with it. We all know what happened with the Russia collusion lie, and yet there has been very little accountability. So I ask you again, can you do anything about this?
After November, we are hopeful that we're going to be able to be more aggressive. But we have to remember that the Senate and the Judiciary Committee cannot indict anybody. We can do oversight, we can do investigations, we can turn things over to a DOJ, but you need a non-political leadership at the DOJ in order to be able to do that. We're going to continue to do our due diligence to bring things to light. And Maria, that is the job that we have in front of us right now, is holding these individuals accountable, asking Christopher Wray hard questions that he continues to try to refuse to ask.
Well, look, you could understand the frustration because it seems like the Democrats are winning. Last week, the president came back from his vacation to sign into law his climate and tax bill, which amazingly they are calling an Inflation Reduction Act, even though it will likely stoke inflation. The money given to the IRS earmarked is $80 billion to hire 87,000 new agents. I compare that to the agents at the border, and it's absolutely incredible. You're going to have 166,000 IRS agents doing audits on more and more Americans while you have only 20,000 border agents at the border, which is wide open. And we are seeing illegals come in, get apprehended, and some come in and we don't know what their intentions are. No wonder crime is spiking across the country. Give us the impact of this
Correct.
act.
Yes, and in Tennessee, I have heard from so many people in our creative community. They're in the music industry, they're authors. They're very concerned about this because they know that they're organized as an LLC and a pass-through entity. Their gross is much higher than what their actual income, their profit is, and they know that these are audits that are going to be coming to them. And Maria, again, they're looking at the politicized nature of some of these agencies, the FBI, the IRS, the EPA, and they're thinking, hey, wait a minute, I am a law-abiding citizen, I'm hardworking, I'm tax-paying, but they know they're coming at them. Now, likewise, with this Inflation Reduction Act, people know that these excise taxes on imported oil and gas is going to drive the price back up at the pump. And we're going to be monitoring that and watching that very closely. We have people in Tennessee that drive 30 miles to work, 30 miles back home, and they are making a choice whether they fill up the tank or they fill up the grocery cart too many different days each month. It is a strain. We've got people that are trying to be first-time home buyers, and because of the impact of inflation, they can't do that. Then they hear about this bill with $313 billion in new taxes, $369 billion for the Green New Deal, $80 billion for the IRS, as you have said, and $64 billion for Obamacare subsidies. And they're saying, what are these people thinking? Everything they do makes my life worse. And we know those IRS audits are coming to people that are, their gross is $200,000. It's not the billionaires. It's not the multimillionaires. It is people that are small business people that are going to get hit with these audits, fees, and fines.
But do you think your colleagues in the Senate on the Republican side understand the ramifications and the frustration? I mean, after all of those colleagues of yours who voted for the CHIPS Act, voted for the Infrastructure Act, all of this money going to all of these different places and not a penny going to the border. Why can't the Republicans take a stand and say, until you acknowledge what is going on at the border, we're not agreeing on anything?
Well, and you look at that CHIPS Act, Maria, it was supposed to bring manufacturing back to the U.S., but that language allows our technology to be exported and for imports to come from China. So the Chinese Communist Party wins again because this administration doesn't take it seriously. You look at the border, you see the 2 million people coming across, you see the terrorists that we have already apprehended this year, over 56 terrorists, known terrorists, and then the 1 million gotaways. And all of this is getting to our streets, the drugs, the fentanyl, the havoc this is wreaking on families, on communities. Law enforcement is saying something has to be done to secure that border. The cartels are setting up shop in these sanctuary cities, and they are pushing the drugs out into your community. It's why every state's a border state. Every town is a border town until we secure that border.
And of course, the fentanyl underlying chemicals are made in China. No comment from Joe Biden to Xi Jinping about that. Senator, we are going to keep a spotlight on it, and we appreciate your time on this. Thanks very much for being here this morning.
You got it.